Assalamualaikum. So today we from group 29 LAX movie review will be review on the movie that we agreed last video, which is Alice in Wonderland. So firstly, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Nurul Shafika binti Alias. My matric number is 198777.
My name is Muhammad Farah and my metric number is 205044.
My name is Suryani binti Darwis and my matrix number is 196296.
My name is Afia Maliha Asia. My matric number is 200197.
My name is Siti Nashita Saini.
Okay, the others, please continue.
My matric number is 198110.
My name is Nur Afini binti Ahmad Shabuddin and my matric number is 199397.
My name is Nuwadatul Tasnim binti Muhammad Saleh and my matrix number is 198155.
My name is Nabila Azin binti Azizan. My matric number 197882.
My name is Nunabilah binti Muhammad Razi. My matric number is 198430.
Okay, so I will start the movie review with the introduction. So basically, this movie, Alice in Wonderland, is a 2010 American dark fantasy adventure film that was directed by Tim Burton and written by Linda Woolverton. So this movie is inspired from the fantasy novel Alice's Adventure in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass. The movie used a technique, a combining of live action and CGI animation. So this movie was released on 25 February 2010 in United Kingdom and 5 March 2010 in United States. So the introduction of this movie is this movie tells a story about a 19-year-old Alice Kingsley accidentally returns to the place to the Underland, a place she previously. She is told that she can restore the White Queen throne with the help of Mad Hatter. She is the only one who can play the Jabberwocky, a dragon-like creature that is controlled by the Red Queen. In this situation, Alice fights against the Red Queen to protect the world. That's all from me. So.
And for me, I will tell you about the plot brief. This story begins with Charles Kingsley trying to sell his project to some man. His talk is interrupted by 6-year-old Alice, who had that nightmare again. She tells her father she saw many strange creatures, including a dodo bird, a white rabbit wearing a waistcoat, a smiling cat, and a blue caterpillar. Alice wonders if she has gone mad, which Charles responds she is. He tells her that all the best people are mad. 13 years later, after losing her beloved father, Alice is a melancholy 19-year-old who doesn't really fit in with her upper-class privileged Victorian lifestyle in a world of high society. She has no friend, is unmotivated and depressed. Too much of her mother's concern, and despite her character flaws, Alice is mature, intelligent, a strong-willed girl who always speaks her mind, and has an independent personality which is frowned upon in young ladies of her time. She truly wants to make her own choices in life instead of having everything choose for her, such as picking out her own as husband and not being forced in an arranged and loveless marriage. After running away from an engagement garden party that goes terribly wrong. Alice falls down into the rabbit hole and is ultimately brought back to Wonderland to slay the Jabberwocky. Throughout the film, Alice reunites with old unfamiliar friends such as Tweedledee and Tweedledum, the Mad Hatter, and even comes across new individuals such as the White Queen. The younger and much more beautiful ghost sister of the Red Queen. During her escapes, Alice insists that she is simply just trapped within her own mind again, and everything around her is just another one of her bizarre and surreal recurring dreams of nightmares. Alice has had dreams of Wonderland since childhood, so she believes her feelings of doubt that none of her surroundings actually exist are correct. Towards the end of her adventure in Wonderland, she slowly begins to realize and see everything is in fact real. Alice finally remembers her first trip to Wonderland all those years ago. Alice accepts that she was indeed the right girl who made long-lasting infamous impressions on Wonderland and all its illogical people and creatures who inhabit it. As everyone keeps going on about who she really is, Alice's return becomes a rite of passage as she discovers herself and faces her fears head-on to not only save Wonderland and fulfill its long-awaited prophecy, but also to save herself. While finding her true calling and way in life, Alice will learn to believe in the impossible in this dark coming-of-age fantasy film. Thank you. That's all from me.
Thank you, Faras, for the introduction for the review of the Alice in Wonderland. Okay. In this review of Alice in Wonderland, I will introduce you the character, which is the few character that act in this movie, which is Alice, the Mia Wasikowska, the Mad Hatter, Johnny Depp, Red Queen, Helena Bonham Carter, the White Queen is Anne Hathaway. Okay, for me in Johnny Depp, which is the actor that act as the Mad Hatter, the way he portrayed his character make us as the viewer feeling the same way like him. When Mad Hatter helped Alice from being caught by the Red Queen person, we can notice that the Mad Hatter is the good person. For Alice, which is act by Mia Wasikowska, the act as Alice, which is provide us a good station. When if you want that, you can get by hard work. Where we can see from the battle scene, which Alice killed the Red Queen dragon and helped the White Queen to be the person who in charge in the Wonderland. For the Red Queen, that it depicts where she show that your whatever your desire will destroy yourself if that gains by the wicked solution. It shows that whatever things that you want in your life, you must gain by doing a good example, but not destroy other. That's all. I think that is a few character that I introduced for Alice in Wonderland. Nabila, what do you think about it?
Okay, I will review the morals in this story. One of them is supportive in in friendship and also among family members. In this movie, Alice's late father encouraged her to fight with Jabberwocky among demolished spiraling tower surrounding the battlefield. And her friend Caterpillar remember her that when she was young, when she was still a child, she had visited the Wonderland when and encouraged her and advised her to fight the Jabberwocky just before he completing his transformation. And also the White Queen, she support her by giving her the potion so that she can return to her normal size, and also rewards her with a suit of armor to fight the Jabberwocky. So what about others?
Okay. The lesson that I get from this movie is the curiosity not hit us but give the lesson. As we know, Alice, the girl who full of curiosity and always dream an imaginable thing. Because of her curiosity, she fall down in the hole after follow the white rabbit and come into a weird world called Wonderland. And she faced a adventure in Wonderland, like fight with a huge big dragon, which is Jabberwocky, and Jabberwocky. At the first time, she refused to fight with it because she think it's not impossible for her to fight with it. But suddenly she know that it can be possible and force herself to fight with it. So because of her curiosity, she faced the adventure, the wonderful thing in her life journey. Furthermore, in our life, we as a individual must setting a high goal and striving to achieve it, and never let anyone else in your life define what is impossible for you. As individual, uh, as individual, it's our responsibility to create our dream to be a reality. So don't care about people that make you down. Just ignore it and go on. Achieve your goals, and because that is your dream, not others. That's all for me. So Afia, what the lesson that you get from this movie?
Um, for me, for Alice in on Wonderland, after watching that movie, I realized that nothing is most impossible. If you can dream something, you can achieve something. For example, Alice, what she was dreaming about the other world, like she used to dream about the world it will be different and something like that, and the next day she was searching for her rabbit and she went to the other world, and she saw the different thing that she only could have thought about in her dream. She never thought that she will be living that life. So if you can desire something, you can have it. And also the other thing I learned from this movie, that in this movie, Alice is the superwoman. Like she is dealing with her everything, like her life and the facts that come in front of her. She did it by herself. She didn't took anyone's help. So from by watching this, I learned that you can handle your problem by yourself. You can be your superwoman in your life. So yeah, this is the lesson I learned from this movie. Thank you.
So for me, I would like to share with all of you my moral value from what I have watched from this movie, which is risk has reward. Sure, why I say like that, because the moment crawling down a rabbit hole might be too big a risk in the real world, but at least decision to follow the white rabbit leads to a magical journey. It is not something smooth sailing, as she encountered obstacles, get lost, and the queen heart is obsessed with taking her head. But the time Alice waits from Wonderland, she aimed with the new experience to help navigate her life. So from here, I learned the moral value that I get, which is taking risks scary, like crawling down a rabbit hole. But when we standing still, also can be the scarier. So without taking the risk and challenging ourselves, we don't grow out and we cannot move on to the next part. So I think that's all from me. And what about Shafika?
Okay, actually, I get from Alice in the Wonderland is yes, I get it. You should brave to take the risk, like Afini said. And one thing is, don't be fear or make what we say. Let the other people make you feel fear because your surrounding is full of bad people or anything. Like at least some people in in the movie that has a bad thing, no bad thing, like the she has a bad like what I said. She want to take the Alice head and do something. So don't be like Alice that she does. Then you even though Alice that film Alice on his dream her dream, but when she woke up from her dream, she stand to not to fear, even though in the real world, like Afini said, you have to be brave, you have to not fear and not and of course have to take risks on your lives. Okay, that's all for me.
Okay, now I want to tell you about why this movie is the best movie to watch. First of all, this movie inspired me to always be confident with ourselves. In this movie, uh, the few reasons that I think interesting when the Alice know that she can do whatever he put uh, her mind to. In the opening of scene in 2010, Alice tells her friend of her journey. The only way to achieve the impossible is to believe that it is possible. And in our life also, sometimes we think that we can afford to do that kind of thing. But if we really try, uh, if we really try hard, it will always work. Second, is about the creativity behind the whole story is inspiring. Who would ever thought about the bending red roses and the giant talking caterpillar? This movie have amazed me, and I'm very sure that whoever watch this movie will be excited. That's all from me.
Thank you, Shazwani. I would like to add some point. For me, I think that the best thing about this movie is I really amazed the character in the Alice in the Wonderland, especially on their clothes design, their makeup, and also the characteristic of the character in the Alice. So in the Alice in the Wonderland, I mean. So for me, the designer and also the actor in this movie made a good and fantastic job to produce very interesting and realistic movie. The character that I amaze is White Queen. As we all aware that her skin is very white and very pale. So I really don't know on what type of foundation and how much amount that they put on the White Queen to make her look very white and so pale and make it very suitable with her character, as we all aware that her character is a White Queen. Besides that, I also amazed with the Red Queen character. that we can see it from the movie. Her head is more bigger than her body, and that idea really out of box and make this movie more interesting. And then lastly, for the Alice. Okay, for me, this movie able to turn someone that look very childish, for example, Alice, to a very bold girl. For example, before war, her outfit, uh, is really make her look childish and less confident. Then during the war, uh, the designer changed the Alice clothes to make her look more bold and fearless girl with her war outfit and also her war material like sword. So I think that's all from me. Thank you.
Okay, before we end this movie review, I will suggest this movie for those who like to watch the fantasy movie, like the adventure movie. It's suitable for them to watch it, and it's very enjoyable. It also have a lot of lessons that we can adapt it, and for the can we use for our life. We can take the lesson from the friendship of Alice in the Wonderlands, for her brave, and so on. I also suggest this movie because this movie is very wonderful. They use a good cinematography. They use the technology they use like a real, like in the beautiful wonderland that we can imagine. So that we can recommended this movie to watch with your family, with your friend, and uh, family and your friend. Also, this movie is very fun to watch it. That's all from me. So we have finished our movie review for this movie Alice and the Wonderland. That's all from us. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you all.
Yay.